Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Twamvi. If you are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much, and if you're new here, thank you for joining me. Today we're talking about money, and I know that this is kind of a heavy topic. It's a cringy topic for some. Granted, this is only my second video, so you guys are probably like, this is like the second date. Why are we talking about money when we don't even know your favorite color? But I promise to make my next video more fun and just more light. I will also be sharing why this is actually a very personal topic for me at the end of the video, so stay tuned. The reality is that most of us don't really come from homes or environments where having money conversations is a thing. No one really sits you down like, hey, this is how you save and budget and invest. So you basically just have to figure out everything by yourself and learn through mistakes and learn through experience. I started making my own money in 2019, and I regret to say that I wasted most of my hard-earned money. So in this video, I will be exposing the 5 financial mistakes I made as a young adult. This video is mostly for if you're financially starting out, like if you're in college or you're just starting your first job. But then I do believe that money rules don't really change, so it could really help anyone. So yeah, hopefully you can avoid making the same mistakes, or if you're already making them, make the necessary changes. The first mistake I made was not having a budget, and I know this is probably the most common sense thing on my list, but I just never really saw the need. I always felt like budgeting was for housewives, or it would make more sense if I had more responsibilities or if I was making more money. And you tell yourself, I can budget in my head. The reality is, as long as you have the money, you'll spend money on what you want at a particular moment in time, regardless of whether it's a priority or not. So what budgeting does is it helps you to identify what's most important to you, as well as what you want your money to do for you, because money is not just for spending, it's for achieving goals as well. So when you're budgeting, you're organizing your bills, your savings, as well as your financial goals. So a lot of people think that budgeting is restricting, and that is not true. I find that budgeting actually gives you more freedom, because as you're tracking down your expenses, you're made aware of the small unnecessary expenses that you're making that add up. And when you cut them out, you're actually creating room for you to have more money for things that actually matter. Even if you feel like you don't have enough money to budget, you should, because it actually gives you more control over the little money you have coming in. And it's even more important to budget when every penny counts. So yeah, it's important to learn how to manage your finances before they grow. The second mistake I made was undermining small expenses. Beware of small expenses. In my last point, I mentioned how when you realize how small expenses add up, you actually see that they're not so small. For me, it's always been food. I am a huge snacker and just a foodie in general, so I was always spending money on food and generally just always buying food. So it's important to just be honest with yourself. If there are things that you can't completely cut out, just give yourself a limit on how much you should spend on them. A really great trick I learned is that every time I feel tempted to spend money on something worthless, I take the money that I was meant to spend and put it aside and save it. So what I could have spent on like Doritos or candy ends up buying me a cute pair of shoes. So you actually see the rewards of practicing restraints. The third mistake I made was saving with no goal. The financial fitness bunny Nicolette Masheli likes to say that saving is a discipline, it's a culture, and it's a way of life. You just don't spend everything you have. However, save with purpose. If you don't know why you're saving, just leave it, babes. I think that a lot of people find it difficult to save because they don't know why they're saving. They just do it because they feel like it's the adult thing to do. And so essentially they're just putting money aside. Nicolette also likes to say that idle money is bored money, and bored money is gone money. A person can have the discipline to save all year long, and then come December, they spend it all. This is why it's important to have financial goals and just have a clear vision for what you want your money to do for you in the long run. So big financial goals can be broken down into smaller goals. For example, if your long-term goal is to build a house or to own your own home, you can't really start saving up for that now, but you could start saving to invest in a business, or you could start saving to go to school to learn a skill that could make you more money and increase your income. The fourth mistake I made was not taking debt seriously and just not understanding the implications of debt. If you have debt issues, it's important to understand that no amount of money will save you, because it's really just a mindset thing. It's a habit that you form of spending money that you don't have yet, and it's a habit that you should break. Obviously, there is good debt and there's bad debt, and I don't really want to get into that. That's a video for another day. But chances are, if you're young, you're probably not acquiring any good debt. Your debt is probably just the result of your wanting instant gratification, as was the case with me. I bought a lot of things on credit because I just didn't want to wait until I could pay cash for them. Right now, I am completely anti-debt. The only time I'll buy something on credit is if I have a clear, actionable plan of how I'm going to pay for it. Otherwise, I'm fine just saving up for whatever I want and buying it when I have enough money. And I know what it's like to not really know how much you owe, to not want to know how much you owe, because it just gives you so much anxiety, because you know that you've let it accumulate for so long. But it's important to understand the numbers and just let that empower you to take practical steps into paying it back. This brings me to my last point, not saying no. Learn to manage financial pressure. And I understand that we're young, so it's perfectly acceptable for us to want to do fun things. However, fun does not have to equal mindless spending. Have a budget for enjoyment and say no to things that make you compromise your budget. It also helps to spend cash on enjoyment, so you know that when you're out of cash, it's time to go home. And I know that you can't really plan for everything. Not all shenanigans can be added to the calendar. Sometimes you just want to do things on a whim. However, don't make it a habit, because when impulsive spending isn't a habit, when it actually happens, you don't even feel bad about it because you know that it's not a regular thing. So earlier on, I said that I would be sharing why this is a very personal topic for me. I started my business in 2019 and I made good money, but I just didn't see what it did for me. And you know how they say that it's not about how much money you make, but it's about how much you keep and how hard you can make it work for you. So I knew that if I didn't get a handle on my finances, then it just wouldn't bode well for me in the future. So I decided to educate myself, and so I read books and listened to podcasts just to become more financially savvy. And it's important to become financially savvy as early as possible. Your money personality really just comes down to what you are exposing yourself to. So you need to expose yourself to the right things. And also, it's not enough just to learn things if you don't put them in practice. When you know better, you need to do better. So yeah, that brings me to the end of my video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.